the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz here on a Monday. We are so glad that you have joined us wherever and whenever it is that you join us here on the Auburn Blitz and making Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake. It's Brett and Faith, as it always is on a Monday to get your week started. It's Thanksgiving week. Everybody ought to be smiling. Everybody ought to be happy. Everything should be good. It's Iron Bowl week. Faith, am I wrong?
No, I mean, it's a good week. I know a lot of kids are out of school this week, so super, super fun for everyone that gets to hang out together as a family this week. I know that's something a lot of people are probably looking forward to. So, yeah, it's going to be a good week.
It is going to be a good week and a lot to talk about. And again, when you look at it, it's Iron Bowl week, but that's not the only thing we're going to be talking about. You got basketball too. Got some basketball coming up today and tomorrow. The Eras tournament in Las Vegas. So we'll preview that game a little bit today. But first things first, where are we in the coaching search? And the timeline for John Cohen is fastly approaching. Right after the Iron Bowl, he said. And, you know, it seems that it's been on that pace and that track for the last several weeks, but there's a lot of elements in this thing. You and I had some information on Friday that we felt like came from some pretty reliable sources that this thing had pretty much been done. All of the things in principle were done with John Sumrall outside of signing a piece of paper, which we don't know if that's even been done. But bottom line is, and on track to maybe announce something on Sunday. But guess what? There's some other suitors out there for John Sumrall. And is he going to play his cards, Faith, on this thing? And there's an important game before the Iron Bowl called the Egg Bowl on Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, the Egg Bowl, the AD at Ole Miss said that after the Egg Bowl is when Lane Kiffin's status will be updated for everyone to know. And it is, I mean, it's a Friday game, and it's an interesting game. And this year it is going to be in Starkville.
How does that impact Auburn? That here's the thing. They said they were going to make an announcement regarding Lane Kiffin after the Egg Bowl on Saturday, his future. I think a lot of us and a lot of everybody feels like if he were staying, they would have just come out after they met this past Friday. They would have said, hey, we've met. We've decided all this, blah, blah, blah. But then to say you're not going to say anything until after the Egg Bowl, is it just drama? Is it just dragging some of these other schools along? Do they know? Or is Lane Kiffin going to take this absurd deal to LSU that we saw upwards of, with everything involved, 7 years, $90 million? Something like that?
Yeah, I think along with that, it could be – it's crazy because of some of the conspiracies that you and I have been talking about with, okay, Auburn goes and beats Alabama in the Iron Bowl. Guess what gets announced right after that? Kalen DeBoer is getting fired. Where is Lane Kiffin going to go? And I was talking with Reese earlier, and he was telling me, well, that Alabama job is Lane Kiffin's dream. And the other thing is, too, it's not about the money for Lane Kiffin, okay? Like, money is great and all, but to me, I don't think Lane Kiffin is going to go somewhere for just the money. I really think
he said he wasn't, but can we believe him? That's the
But
thing.
yeah, I saw one of his former players go and talk about how his structure as a coach and like just someone that knows a lot more about him personally than any of us do. And his former player was saying it isn't about the money for him. It really will be about where
Right.
it's going to suit him and his coaching so much better. And it makes sense if he goes somewhere that is better. But if you look at his past and his track record and how they got snubbed last year going to the playoffs and stuff, how much the college football world has changed, that he wants to go somewhere where they will not get snubbed. And
Right.
because if you look at Ole Miss's past before he got there, they were worth nothing. And he wants to go somewhere that is known for football and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And when you've got LSU and Alabama in the mix of, their past and how just in the last 15 years they've been good and stuff like that. I mean,
Right.
that would be somewhere that would suit him rather than staying at Ole Miss.
I'm going to play devil's advocate for you for a second. I think everything you said is what we've all talked about and together and agreed on. All right, I'm going to take the flip side of that. What if he's looking at it from a standpoint of that Alabama job that some people say is his dream job? He's been there. He understands what it's about.
Mhm.
He's seen the fans. He knows the unrealistic expectations that Kalen DeBoer's going through right now. I mean, does he want to stop doing? He can stay at Ole Miss and ride this thing out forever. I mean, let's be honest. The success he's had, he's not going to stop having success over there to whatever degree. And Ole Miss fans are as happy as they can be and don't want him to leave. And the pressure is never going to be to the level it is at LSU and Alabama.
Mhm.
And does he want to fool with that? Or even Florida, if you're looking at that, does he want to fool with some of that irrational, crazy stuff? Or does he want to stay where he is at Ole Miss and continue to do what he's been doing and be put on a pedestal and probably have a statue built for him one day? That's one thing. And then on the flip side of that, though, on the counter argument side, he's so many times voiced his displeasure with the fan support at Ole Miss and goes, he said it multiple times over the last couple of years. So I don't know. I see your side. I think there's a side over here where he's like, yeah, maybe at one time that was my dream job, but maybe this is my dream job to stay here now.
If I had to argue with that, I would say that if he is the new head coach that everybody wants and everybody wants to have, you want to go somewhere and prove everybody wrong. You want to go and you want to take on that hardest position because you want to prove yourself. Now, I don't know, is that the kind of mindset that Lane Kiffin has? I know that would be the kind of mindset for me. If I wanted to go and prove myself to everybody, I would want to go and take on those hardest jobs to, have the pressure and everything like that. So I don't know. But if he is the head coach that is, the one that everybody's talking about, he should want to go out there and prove it to whoever by going to the hardest schools to go and coach at.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's two sides to this thing for sure. And the reason we're talking about Lane Kiffin this morning is because whatever happens on Friday or actually Saturday may impact what's going on with Auburn and John Sumrall's decision. Like, okay, what if Lane Kiffin exits? And what if he goes and Ole Miss turns immediately to John Sumrall? Now, look, which one's a better job? Like, historically, it's not close. But in the current moment, Ole Miss is in better shape. But I'm not sure their roster is in better shape. Like, that's the odd thing about all this, is that Auburn's roster is very attractive. And so there are a lot of things to pull. And maybe John Sumrall, again, thinks the Auburn job is better, overall, historically and facility-wise and fan support and all that kind of stuff, better than Ole Miss. So there's going to be a jockeying position unless something has already been done, like we talked about to start the show this morning. If things have kind of already been levied and he's agreed in principle to whatever, and then it's planned that it's going to be announced on Sunday after the Iron Bowl, then there's nothing to worry about. But here, once again, the spotlight's on John Cohen. There's a lot of Johns involved in this thing, right? John Cohen is under the spotlight or in the spotlight because if that doesn't play out, Faith, and something happens and he goes, well, yeah, at that time, now I've got some other options. I want to weigh it. Now my team's in the playoffs. Now if that thing gets pushed down the tracks and every day that goes by, Auburn doesn't name a head coach, guess what this fan base is going to be doing? Getting antsy, going, what in the world? What's going on? Like, this didn't happen. Like, we don't have our first choice. I mean, all the stuff. Our show will be full of people coming on here, and we'll be talking about it too. But that's where you're going to be. So I think it's imminent, and that's why John Cohen has been working tirelessly and so fast to try to get this in place to fulfill what he said he was going to do at that press conference that day.
And I think too, with all this pressure on John Cohen, you've got to have a realistic expectation when it comes to what he's done in the past. And again, I think it will be a big determining decision of whoever Auburn does get, or whether or not there's a decision made on Sunday. That'll show you who is in charge, if he is the committee or not.
I'm with you. I think there's a lot of things that are going to be watched. And by the way, just to add to that, we won't get a chance to go to practice this week. So that the practice is closed this week. You and I both are not surprised.
Yeah, I'm not shocked.
Last night, you were like, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm not shocked that they decided to hold off on media practice at all this week. And truthfully, I probably would have done the same thing, but it would be nice to be able to go and talk to some players before going into Iron Bowl, because after the game, obviously there were a few questions and comments. I would really like to talk to Ashton Daniels about going into the Iron Bowl, because we only talked to Deuce on Saturday, but yeah, I don't know. I think no one's surprised, and there's just a lot of excitement and also a lot of questions going into the Iron Bowl.
Yeah, and I think I'm with you. That's the thing that I was looking forward to most, is getting some players. But that's the thing I think they don't want us to do, is talk to players.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about this coaching search. They don't want anybody asking about, starting, and they want to minimize distractions this week, because there's a lot. There is a lot, because there's a lot going on. So I think overall it was decided, and I'm sure it was DJ Durkin's decision, to say, let's just not go with media this week. Hey, look, we're good with it. I understand where he's coming from. It's his team right now. We're not guaranteed ever to go get anything, but, it's been good the last couple of years to be able to get in practice, at least one day, and have a period, and sometimes extended periods, depending if it's in the spring or whatever. But we won't be given a report from practice this week, is what I was wanting to make sure we said this morning, because, it is Iron Bowl week, and everybody's going to go, what did you see? What happened? And, well, we won't be seeing anything. We'll be seeing the same amount as all of you out there. So we'll be on the edge of our seat too. So, then of course you got Thanksgiving come up Thursday, and then the final prep for Friday, and then the game on Saturday. So it's going to be a quick week, and we've got a busy one too, because we've got a semifinal game in South Alabama, in as big a game as there is in the state, that we'll be calling on Friday, and then we'll have the Iron Bowl on Saturday. So we've got a busy week for sure. All right, Faith, let's talk about some of our partners.
Sensagreen, for air that's cool and clean this fall during dollar days. Call Sensagreen for major discounts on HVAC repairs and installs. Get HVAC smart at sensagreen.com through Thanksgiving with up to $100 off HVAC repairs, $500 off installation work, and $1,500 off a new HVAC system. Sensagreen with Carrier, turn to the experts. You only have a few days left for these Professor Greenback coupons. So go ahead and reach out to Sensagreen. They are reliable, just like the Carrier units.
Absolutely. Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm located in Birmingham, Alabama, and working with huge projects, multi-million-dollar projects. They lead you from the pre-construction phase to the finished product, and that's why you hire them. It takes all of that worry off of you, and they carry you through the project and make sure it's done correctly. So if you have a major project in planning that you're looking at, you need to call on a program management company, and Scout is the one. They're the best in the business. Check them out. They have multiple projects going on all over the state with a bunch of schools and municipalities. You will not be sorry. You'll be glad that you did.
Bunkers in downtown Auburn. I cannot imagine the scene Bunkers is going to have this weekend with the Iron Bowl, but I would love to be there if I was not at the game, because where else are you going to find the perfect mix of sports, food, music, and fun? They are the best in downtown Auburn with 50 parking spaces in the parking garage. Head over to Bunkers. You've got some really great deals, really good happy hour deals. I mean, it's the place to be.
Always the place to be. Hopefully they'll get your Christmas present ready.
I know. So, Brett, we've got a lot of people already asking and giving some of their predictions for this week. Let's go ahead and do the tiebreaker because it is such a big week and we've got a lot of people watching. We haven't even talked about it, but I think it could be interesting.
Can I go with something odd for this? And axe it if you don't think it's good. I'm gonna give you the authority to say, Brett, that's stupid. Don't do that. Penalties for Auburn in this game.
Oh, okay. I like it.
Because if we want a small amount of penalties in this game, we don't want 10, 11, 12 like we've seen multiple times this year. So tell me, do you like that or not?
I like that. Okay. I like that.
I think that's a good one. We've done Ashton Daniels passing. We've done Jeremiah Cobb rushing. We could do a receiver with catches, but penalties is a wild card.
That could be anywhere from, this year, who knows?
12 to 14.
Yeah.
It won't help if it's up in that area where we're doomed. So maybe not. Would you want to take it one step further and say combined penalties between Alabama and Auburn?
No.
Just go Auburn. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was going to say because Alabama probably won't get but like 1 or 2 and we'll have 10. So,
yeah.
But
that's the other thing too. I'm going to be really, really interested to see how well Auburn plays and whether or not they play super well. And if you can see Auburn, or if you can see Alabama being protected with the refs, because when Kyle just asked what's Auburn's record if DJ was named head coach after the Texas A&M game, regardless, you would still have the refs protecting Georgia, and they still would have won 100%. That game regardless of, whatever. And I still think it's too much of a risk for Auburn to go out there and win and have Alabama be knocked out of the playoffs for the SEC. I think it would cost them too much money. I think it would it would be too much.
For all of you out there that go, they're all crazy on here talking that crap. If you don't think that plays into it, then all right, whatever. If you don't think money is the main driving factor on this, like you can call us whatever you want to call us. And the conspiracy theorists out there about Game 7 in the playoffs and in baseball and whatever, and NBA finals and stuff. Does it do the NBA any good for a team to sweep? I know it happens from time to time, but what would they rather see? 7 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, it is what it is. We're not going to go down that path today. All right. So moving into this game, let's go back to Mercer. We haven't even talked about the game Saturday and what Deuce Knight did from the first snap. We didn't even get in our place. We were trying to all, like you and I were talking about it. You were going down one sideline. I was trying to decide if I was going to stay over here. Taylor was down for me, and we all get to the other side of the end zone, and Taylor looks at me and goes, crap. Of course, we weren't in position to get that run because it happened so fast.
It was unbelievable. Like you said, we were barely in position of, all right, this is where we're going to be, I mean, I could literally see the smile on his face when he actually, for every single run he had, I could literally see the smile on his face. And in the photos I have of him, you can see his big old smile that he has running down the field. And I mean, he tied Cadillac Williams against Alabama in 2003 for the fastest touchdown in Auburn history at 15 seconds. I know this is a different game than Cadillac doing it against Alabama, obviously. But still, I mean, this kid is a true freshman going in there, and his first freaking play of the game goes and just uses his legs and gets all the way down. It was crazy.
I kind of asked that question to him, and then I just kind of I go back and I don't even know if I really asked him a question, but like the first thing that I said to him in the postgame, I said, Deuce, you just looked up and there was a bunch of green. I wanted him to say I can't believe that I'm about to score a touchdown on my first play from scrimmage as a starter. And I texted you and I said, if it hadn't been for Jeremiah Cobb and Malcolm Simmons, he would not have scored. He would have had a good run, but he would have probably gotten 15 yards.
Yeah.
They blocked that, and he gave credit to that, Faith, remember? He said that's all he talked about is how well that play was blocked.
It's crazy because you mentioned Jeremiah and Malcolm going and making those blocks. Well, on Jackson Arnold's touchdown, you had Alvin Henderson run from 10 yards behind all the way down, busting his rear end to go and make a block for Jackson Arnold to go and get in and score a touchdown. That is, I want to say, the difference in these guys than some other teams. And when I said the other day on the post-game reaction show, talking about the confidence in this team and how it hasn't changed at all since day one. Normally a team that just doesn't really care, they don't have anything to play for anymore really at this point other than a bowl game, but nothing significant and big. These guys are still going and busting their rear ends, whether or not they're up the way they were before Jackson Arnold scored that touchdown or Deuce Knight on his first play of the game going and scoring the touchdown. They have not given up, and they are continuing to go out there and bust it for each other, whether or not it's for them on their behalf or for their teammates. And that is what I love about this team. And I see if everyone can, stay and be able to see it through to next season, this will be an unstoppable team next year.
I think so. I mean, they are starved for success.
Yeah.
And with the right leader, you're not going to have to worry about a team going out there and not giving 110%. Nobody wants to win more than this team. And, we also saw a bunch of pictures from people on Twitter of the crowd on Saturday. And, minus a little bit of a section at the top of the end zone for the students. Place was slammed again. A 1:00 game against a non-conference team in a year where you got 4 wins on the season, packed. It felt like you were 8-2 going into the game, and whatever. It just, you don't get that in hardly any. If you had that same scenario for other schools, 4 years of losing seasons, 4-6 going into this game, a non-conference opponent in the middle of the afternoon on a gorgeous day, a lot of these schools would have half an empty stadium.
You can't even get it at Ole Miss right now with the season they're having.
little stabs, little jabs there from you. But it's the truth. It's the truth.
It is.
And so you don't realize, a lot of times I told you this the other day when we were talking about watching good high school players. You don't appreciate it a lot of times in the moment because you're just like, well, let's get to the next game. Let's get to the next game. And you want to win a championship and all that. You don't realize how fortunate and Auburn people do, but a lot of times and take for granted that we just show up on Saturday, regardless of the record, regardless of what's going on, and expect Jordan Hare to be 88,000 strong. I mean, this fan base is as resilient as any in the country, period. To quote you, period. Like, that is without a doubt, nobody can argue with that. And we take it for granted sometimes. And I know the players don't, because the players, I think a couple of them kind of teared up. May have been Chris Murray talking about it and saying, man, this place is unbelievable. And so, kind of an injury update going into that. Speaking of Chris Murray, who you and I both really like and have liked since spring.
Yeah.
May see a little bit more of him in this game Saturday because Keldrick, dealing with a hip pointer, it seems like, went out early in the first quarter and didn't really see him anymore. So obviously we'll kind of try to keep everybody updated this week on that. Jeremiah Cobb seemed like he was dealing with so need those guys as close to full strength as you can get them for Saturday for sure. And we'll keep everybody posted there. But some more of those superlatives, Faith, for Deuce. I know you've got them right there.
Yeah. Talking about how he's responsible for 6 touchdowns, tying program record held by Cam Newton and Cadillac Williams. Tied Tristan Davis for the 5th longest rushing touchdown by a freshman in Auburn history. That right there.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. 75-yard rushing touchdown with the 6th longest run by an Auburn quarterback in program history. Joined Phil, Cam, Jackson as Tiger quarterbacks to rush 100-plus yards in their starting debut. That's something we, talked about with Jackson at the beginning of the year against Baylor. And
it looked good.
He looked good there. He sure did. Became the first Auburn quarterback with 4 rushing touchdowns in a game since Cam Newton versus Kentucky from 2010.
I was at that game, by the way, and needed all 4 of those touchdowns. That was a nail-biter game. They had a guy named Randall Cobb on that team for Kentucky, and I was like, my God, like, who is this guy? And we're about to lose on the road to Kentucky. But Cam led a drive down the field. That was a good game. It was not at the moment, but after it was over, it was like, man, that was a pretty cool performance by Cam Newton. So,
162 rushing yards were the 7th most by an SEC freshman quarterback since 1995. Finished with 401 yards of total offense, the 10th most by an Auburn player since 1996, and the most by an Auburn quarterback in starting debut since 1969. I mean,
just so much. Could
good
you
for
believe
this
that?
kid. Seriously, like, I know we said this in the post game, but he is somebody that likes to just go out there and play ball, and you can see that. And when I was talking about leading up to this game, let him go out there and ball. That's exactly what he did. And that's also the mentality that he was talking about that he has. And also the connection he's got with these guys is he was talking about Malcolm and talking about, hey, just throw me the ball, throw up the ball is what Malcolm told him. And he was like, all right. And that's obviously what he did. Yeah, it is. But it really is such a connection between these guys. And we talk about football IQ, and for a freshman, I think he does have it. He's got just the way I told you, he was scanning the field and was able to go back is so impressive for a freshman like that when his first option didn't work out or something, or he had to use his legs. There were a few times where he used his legs a little bit too early, maybe.
Right.
And maybe against a better team, he would probably maybe been on the ground or not gotten as many yards. I still think he did so well for his first debut and his first game that I'm impressed, and that's somebody that you want to keep.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, another thing to kind of go along with what you said, I was impressed with him giving props to Jackson and Ashton. He said, look, Jackson's one of the smartest guys I've ever known. And he said he called the coverage, on the first play. And he said it was exactly what it was. He said, and then of course, talking about Ashton and how he helped him prepare, for this game mentally. And he said he's genuinely one of the nicest humans that he's ever been around. And Deuce was saying he was talking to his family about both of those guys and how they supported him all week, in this. And so, I mean, that's good to see. Look,
Yeah.
we can say what we want to on this show about Jackson Arnold, and it sucks that it didn't work out for him, but he's still a human, and he wanted to win and he wanted to do, and it just didn't work out. And it would be very easy for him to go off into the corner and pout or whatever and not be a contributor or just walk away. And, with all the criticism and everything that he's taken. And I'm not saying it's not deserved, but I'm just saying, you have to deal with that as a person. And he's kept a good attitude, and he's been supportive of, Deuce, and he's been supportive of Ashton, and that's all you can ask for. I mean, I think the theme of all of this, Faith, and what you just said and what I'm saying is this locker room has always been together, and they've always been supportive. And when it's tough, that's when you find cracks in the armor, and that's when a lot of times you see a lot of division, and you see a lot of guys pointing fingers and placing blame and a lot of junk, and they've not done that. They have not done that. They've stuck together truly, and that's another thing that is positive, in my opinion, for keeping as much of this roster together as possible when the season's over. I think most of these guys truly want to be here, and they want to win at Auburn. They just got to have the right leader to do it.
I think they are trauma bonded to the max, and that together they've really grown and formed a relationship where it's basically, if they can lose and come back and bounce back the way that they have this season,
Right.
if they can do that again next season, I mean, every single game after they've talked about every loss, they've talked about how this is a good team. This is a playoff contending team, and they just haven't figured it out yet. Well, they have now. We know why.
The sad thing is next year's schedule is going to be much tougher. So
yeah,
it is what it is. You squandered away. When I say squandered, Hugh did. Hugh Freeze squandered this schedule that was manageable away, and now this team's fighting to try to get to a bowl game, and they got to beat their rival to do it. Which, hey, it shouldn't matter what the situation is. You want to go out and win that game anyway. But
right.
There are some things that go with that win on Saturday, if you can get it, is that you will get to 500 and you will have a chance to go to a bowl and extend the season. So for Alabama, if they lose, they're out of the playoffs. Let's be honest. That'll be 2 years in a row for Kalen DeBoer at 9-3 with a team that didn't make the playoffs, and everybody in Tuscaloosa is going to be pissed off about that. There's no way to spin it. It's hard to think that you would be mad at a guy that goes 18-6 in his first 2 years, but we all knew that following Nick Saban would be an impossibility. And, we've heard all the things about Kalen DeBoer. Hey, even if he does win, if Penn State might be a landing spot for him or whatever. Like in this day and age, it would be in the past, it would have been unthinkable for a coach to want to leave Alabama and go somewhere else. But everything else in this world is upside down. I mean, you see things happening now that you've never seen before. And you see timetables, and I look back at the thing that we talked about with the portal in the signing period on December the 3rd and all the stuff coming down the line, it forces these schools and these coaches to do things 5-10 years ago they would never have thought about doing.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, just the way that everything's evolved and having to change with it, evolve and adapt to how these things are going. So, yeah, Tubbs talking about, how Jackson is the way that he's been, his outlook and attitude will make him super successful. I think Jackson would make it as a great coach.
He's obviously very smart and understands coverages, and maybe will be one day. I mean, again, nobody was pulling against Jackson Arnold. Okay,
No.
everybody, look, all we could do was go off what Hugh Freeze said and what we saw in practice. We didn't see a lot of Deuce Knight. You didn't get an opportunity. We all knew he was super talented. Heck, we called the game on the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game. I saw with my own two eyes how unbelievably talented he was. And I saw that same Deuce Knight, although it was Mercer, I saw that same Deuce Knight in that game against Mercer where he never got panicked and he just kind of glided, when he got in the open field. It looked like it was effortless running. And that's what he looked like when he was playing against the Alabama All-Stars when he was playing for Team Mississippi. That's a super boatload of great players he was going against, and he was making it look easy. And I'm like, man, this guy has got a ceiling that I don't even know how high it is. And so we did get a glimpse. You and I said, what will he do with his opportunity? And boy, did he blow it out of the water. I'm telling you, efficient throwing, running the ball, but it was all in control. It was not sporadic. He had great explanations for why things happened.
Yeah.
And leading right there before halftime, getting the interception, and then capitalizing and getting that ball to Cam and scoring was huge. Huge.
Yeah.
I mean, finishing a drive, finishing in the red zone. So a lot there to digest, but it was a fun Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a fun Saturday. All right, let's get to a few more of our partners here on the program. The Cart Source in Dadeville, right there on Highway 280. They are Alabama's premier golf cart superstore. They have the top brands, Easy Go Cushman, Yamaha, and Club Cart. And if they don't have it on their lot, which I can't believe you could go to their lot and not find something you like, but if it's not, they will custom make you a golf cart and order it for you, whatever it is. And these are not normal golf carts. You can get a basic one, but man, you can get the ultimate luxury golf cart with all the bells and whistles and surround sound and super audio systems involved, like custom tires and all that kind of stuff. You need to call them 334-231-2205, or better yet, go see our guy Harrison down there and tell him Auburn Blitz sent you. I know he'll appreciate it, and we will too.
Oliver Ross, if you've got a holiday party this December, go ahead and call on Oliver Ross to be the bartending service for you. Or if you've got that tailgate this weekend, call on Oliver Ross. Anyone from 20 up to 20,000 people, call on Oliver Ross to be the professional licensed bartending service for you and your crew. I mean, I can't imagine you wanting to go and bartend while doing all the work for entertaining your guests. So call on Oliver Ross and make it easier for yourself.
No doubt. And Russell Medical Center, one of the top 3 best hospitals here in the state of Alabama. They are partnered with UAB Health. That's all you really need to say. I mean, I could just stop there, and that would be all you needed for the credibility of how great of a facility and doctors they have and they're partnered with. If you're looking for great health care, clean facilities, passionate people in a environment that's caring, you need to check out Russell Medical Center. You don't have to fight the big city. And they've got the same type of health care right here. And if they don't have the capabilities of doing what you need done there, they will get you to the facility that will. So check out Russell Medical Center. Hey, look, nothing more important in this life than your health. So check it out in Alex City. Okay. Basketball tonight, Faith, Oregon and Auburn in the Player Era Festival Tournament in Las Vegas. That game will tip at 7:00 on True TV. So just kind of your thoughts there. There was a little bit of news coming out just a minute ago about Keyshawn Hall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, him being a game time decision for, his ankle, his foot.
Right.
Yeah, I think Auburn is what, 4.5 is what
Yep.
the
4.5
spread is.
Yep.
Um, ESPN has them at 75.3% predicted to win. But with Keyshawn Hall leading Auburn in points, rebounds, it's gonna be tough if he's
Yeah.
not in
We'll have
there.
him.
Yeah.
And then you got Michigan coming up after that tomorrow. So it doesn't get easier. You knew but you would love to see a healthy Keyshawn Hall be able to help this Auburn team, and you go against an Oregon team that's not ranked, but a very good 4-0 team that, it's going to be a fight. And then to go into that Michigan game tomorrow, you would like to have all hands on deck and to kind of see how that plays out. But we'll be talking about that more. We'll definitely give you a recap tomorrow on the podcast about that.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking about that. But tune that in. 7:00 tip tonight. A couple more comments. Tubb said, yeah, you do hate to see locker room talk thrown around, but someone could write a book about what happened this season. They truly have the talent to be sitting undefeated right now. I mean, the roster has been there the whole time. That's like, I had so many people, and you did too, Faith, Saturday afternoon say, and then on the reaction show say, I'm more pissed off now than I was before, because the last two games, Auburn scored over 100 points.
Yeah.
And they've used all of their pieces. Like Deuce was able to spread the ball around. Ashton was able to spread the ball around against Vanderbilt. I mean, how in the world could you be so inept for so long? That was the frustrating thing about it. But the change has been made now. Now you just look forward. You look in the the windshield, not the rearview mirror. The windshield's much larger. Want to look ahead and not back. So, all right, Faith, I'll let you send us out unless you have anything else you'd like to add this morning.
No, I hope everybody has the best week ever. Happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. And we'll let everybody know about the schedule for us. I mean, obviously, we're going to be on tomorrow and Wednesday. I may do a recorded pod if you're available, Faith, for a short one that we can push out Thursday morning. We'll see. We'll see kind of how everybody's schedule is and all that. We'll definitely be back with you Friday morning for a podcast. And then, of course, we've got a really, really intense football game Friday night at Saraland with Benjamin Russell that we'll be calling. And then it'll be the Iron Bowl, man. This week will fly by, but, it's a fun week. Everybody stop to take a moment to really appreciate what Thanksgiving's all about. That's something that, we just kind of rush through and kind of get to the Christmas season, kind of force yourself to slow down. I think I'm kind of talking to myself a little bit to slow down and enjoy the holiday season with your family and the people that you care about. So, but we'll be back with you tomorrow. Andy and Jim will be with you at lunch today, so make sure you tune them in on the lunch show. And then Faith and I'll be back with you in the morning for the Auburn Blitz. So, like Faith said, everybody have the best day ever. Go be nice to people, and we will see you tomorrow for more of the Auburn Blitz.